Hello everybody, it is Tess with Dark Stitches, and today we are going to talk about patterns, okay? So here's one pattern. This is how they come when they're brand new. They're nice and flat. This one retailed for $21, but if you look for sales at your big box stores, you can find them on sale for like $2 a piece. So wait for your sales and get all your patterns in. Okay, so first off, the back of it is going to give you a lot of valuable information. It's going to start off with measurements. Most patterns this pattern will make any size from 14 to 22. So on the back here, you have sizes from 6 to 22. Okay, it also will tell you how much fabric you need, depending on the width of fabric you need. So if you have 45-inch fabric, it will tell you how much fabric you need for that. But if you have 60-inch wide fabric, it will tell you how much you need for that. And there is a difference between the two because of the way that the patterns can lay out. Also, on here, it will tell you the correct fabrics that are intended for this type of pattern, the best fabrics to use. It will also tell you all the notions that you need. Every little nook and cranny, from how many buttons to how long of a zipper, how many yards of trim. It'll give you all that information here in the notions. Okay, so that is what's on the envelope. Inside, you have your pattern pieces, which are all together on sheets of tissue paper. And you have a set of instructions. It's usually several sheets. And all patterns have the same thing, okay? Right here, you're going to have a line drawing, front and back, of what you're going to make. And here you have all the pattern pieces, line drawing with the coordinating numbers. And here there's a list of what those pieces are for, what they're called, with the coordinating number. And it tells you what view it goes to. Here you have your legend of symbols and things that are going to show up on the pattern pieces. These tell you what those are going to mean. And you also will get per 45-inch wide and 60-inch wide pattern layouts and how to lay the pieces on your fabric to get the most out of it. Okay. This is all fine and well. If you're matching repeats, you might want to lay them out differently. Okay. So the instructions that you get are not just word instructions. They have detailed drawings of every step that's about to happen. And these walk you through how to put your pattern together. It's nice to have like a little bulletin board by your sewing machine to pin these up to. And then you can look at it as you work. Okay, so I've got a pattern cut apart here already. But we're going to open up one of these sheets and I'm going to show you how the pattern pieces come. Generally, what I do when I first get a pattern is I just cut the pieces apart. I don't worry about fussing with cutting them exactly, because when I pin it to the fabric and cut it out, I'll be cutting it exactly then. But with these patterns that have different sizings, sometimes it is best to cut it out exactly so you can bend and fold it as you're pinning it. But for the most part, the sizing on the pattern just kind of trails off, and you can just cut these apart. Now, every pattern piece has pattern company's name, pattern number, like the number of the style, the number of the piece, what it is, and which views it goes to. So, when I put my pattern pieces away, I always want to see all of that information. And the reason for it is sometimes this pattern has two different views. Sometimes patterns have different parts and different pieces, and you're not going to make every piece. So this way, when you're going through all of your pattern pieces, and you fold it the right way, all of the information that you need is right there on the front. And you don't have to unfold every piece in the packet to find out what piece is what. And that's going to save you so much time in the long run. Okay. We've gone over that. I'm going to fold this back up. Okay, so when you have these pieces that are sizable, let's see. This is the front. And you do get them cut out perfectly. You're going to have to make little slits in the pattern. You're going to have to make little slits in the pattern to get it to fold over right. Okay, so this pattern goes up to a 48, and the last thing that I made on it needed to be a 32. So I've got all of these folded down. But now, what I'm making is going to be on the 44. So we need to fold down on the line that is indicated for 44. And this pattern company was really nice to put a little key on every piece. So before I pin this down, I need to go around and fold these lines to resize it. And then I only need this one pattern for 6 sizes. Is it 6? This pattern goes from a 34 to a 48. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 sizes. Fold it. And now this, there was a little curve in it, and it wouldn't have made, I wouldn't have been able to fold it all in one swoop, so you have to split it. Okay, so now that piece is going to be ready to pin, and we will work on this neck curve when we're in it. All right, and that's, let's see, this is the back. Darn it. I was hoping to have a piece that needs to be on fold. So I wanted to show you guys a symbol. Alright, but I'll show you all this one. This is a very important symbol when doing patterns. It is your grain line. It is always going to be a line with 2 arrows that will go straight up and down. What is your grain line? Your grain line is the direction of the yarns of the fabric. One's called warp and one's called weft. What you want to do when you're straightening on your grain line is make sure it is either straight up and down this way or straight up and down this way. Because what happens with our fabrics that don't stretch, let's use this. Alright. This is just a cotton fabric. If I pull it this way, I don't have much stretch. If I pull it this way, I don't have much stretch. But if I pull it on that 45-degree angle, look at that. See how much it stretches and gives? That is called your bias. And very rarely, but it is called for to put the pattern pieces on the bias. That is usually called for on skirts to make them drape nicer and things like that. This is going with this. We're going to make bias tape out of this so we can make stripes on this outfit. Here we go right here. Okay, so this symbol here, with the little arrows, that means to place on a fold, okay? All fabrics come folded over. All apparel fabrics. Drapery and upholstery fabric comes on a bolt. But you can make clothes with drapery and upholstery fabric. But generally, apparel clothing and apparel fabric and craft fabric always comes folded over. Okay? Always check it though, because it's not always perfect. And it's got a crease in the edge. This is your center edge. So when that piece calls to be placed on the center edge, that means all of that edge needs to line up with this fold of fabric. And that is your center fold symbol. It's on almost every pattern. This will be its own video, making biased. Okay, so you've got your pattern. You've got it laid out. This I'm making for someone particular. So we have his measurements. It's my height. So he's short. So I've already shortened the length of the leg. Folding over to that 44 line. Okay, so I have a cross here, which is pretty much in the middle. What I've done is I've lined up my widest spot to the edge of the fabric as close as I can so I can make the most of my fabric. And now I've pinned over here too. So what I'm going to do is smooth it out and come to the top. Make my little fold on my size. And put a pin, okay? This is especially important on a piece that's large like this. Alright, so now I'm smoothed down all the way to the bottom in the center. My grain line is not straight. So now, before I have a million pins in it, I'm going to straighten that out. There we are. Ooh, that's close. Just smooth it out. Okay, so I've shortened these here by the inseam measurement. This person has an inseam measurement of 26 inches. So from the top, this will be your inseam. Measure 29 inches, okay? That being because we're going to have a 5/8 inch seam here, and we need to have room over here to turn this over and hem it. So 3 inches is plenty enough to play with. Have my seam here and have a nice hearty hem at the foot. Okay, so now you can work your way around either side of the pins and just constantly smoothing from the middle. Excuse me, Pogo. Alright, come out of here. Put a couple here. This is such a close. see the selvage, the way the sizing works, it's not the same added thickness all around it. It graduates, you know. So right here, it's really thin. It thins out here on the leg. All right, you get the picture. That's how you pin a piece on, and you work your way around. Okay, so now when it comes time to cut it out, where are the notches on this thing? Does this pattern not put, this company doesn't put notches on their patterns? Weird. Alright. We're going to use this old piece as a demonstration, which is printed very nice and dark. Patterns have notches. Oh, look at that. This one has darts too. Alright. See these things? These notches? There's a 1. There's a double. These help direct you to know what piece goes to what. So the piece that coordinates, that goes next to this piece, is going to have a notch here in the same spot and a notch here in the same spot. That way you know that your piece is on the correct way and the sizing is right and everything like that. These are darts. What you're going to do with these, I'll show you on this. Okay, so you have your pattern piece, it's cut out. Sake of demonstration, let's pretend it's cut out. And then you have marking paper. You can buy this in a pack and it comes in all kinds of colors. So I chose blue because this fabric is orange and blue is the opposite color of orange. So I know it's going to show up really, really well. So what you want to do is you want to be sure that you're making your markings on the wrong side of the fabric. Now some marking paper comes double-sided. Some comes only one side. This is double-sided, so I'm just going to take this one sheet and I'm going to slip it between the layers of fabric. In there. Okay. Now, when I am working with a dart, I'm about to mark something, I like to pin it into place. Just a couple of pins on either side. Make sure it doesn't go away. Yeah, it's not going to move under there. Okay. This is a marking wheel. It's like a little pizza cutter, and it's got a little wheel. The wheel is a little jagged. It makes a little dotted line when you drag it across the marking paper. All right, so what you want to do when you start to make your mark, you're not going to make one big swoop. Keep your hand next to it and just go back and forth motion and scrub it in. Follow that dotted line all the way to the end, okay? It's going to want to bubble on you and push around. That's why the pins are there, and that's why you're going to go slow and just go back and forth. This back and forth motion cuts that down. All right, now I've marked that center line. Okay, so what I also like to do is where these dots are, make a big X. All right, so we're going to take our pins out. So now because it's double-sided, it made a mirror image marking on both sides of my fabric, and it's in blue so I can see it really well. And this is just like a chalk dusting, so It'll come out with this first wash. You can use your hand to brush it away or a little brush, and it'll come out that way too. That way it stays there, and then you can see it to sew. And the purpose of a dart, when you make a dart, that center line is what we fold on. And then you stitch along there. Darts are used to make a curve into the fabric. And I think that pretty much covers it on sewing patterns basics. Yeah. I'm sure if I forgot anything yellow, let me know. And then we can make another video about it. Alright, that's it for tonight. So thank y'all for joining me. Please, if you're getting good use out of this content, hit the like button. If you want to stick around and see what else we do, hit the subscribe button. I've got more lesson type things. I've got more costume build type things. One day I'm going to get the nerve up to do a painting video. Anyway, thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.